Thank you very much. I'm called Nakunda Claire, a student from Chambo University, and I'm the chairperson of the association, Chambo University Disability Students Association. I want to honor you all. I want to thank UNFPA for the invitation, for the sponsorship. As students, we are learning much from the Family Planning Conference. I have a question to the Ministry of Health, and I want to first thank my mentor from Lodipo, that is Debbie, about her presentation. She said that we need to be involved and engaged in different programs. I support that by saying it's a question at the same time, but it is all about employment. As far as you look at family planning, how best it can be reached to each and everyone, more especially the youth. If you could employ us, the persons with disabilities, the young women with disabilities, we have potentials, we are trained, we are educated. Myself, I'm educated. I pursue a bachelor's degree of community-based rehabilitation and disability science. I have a diploma and I'm trying to finish up with a degree. But many of us are outside there, 7 years, 10 years, they have been down the road, they are already graduated with even masters. So, if you can make us the role models in the hospitals, for example, I want to thank the Kirudu National Referral Hospital. At least there are foot ramps and their elevators are somehow brailled. But we need people who can sign for us, the sign language interpreters. You imagine the moment you enter the doctor's room and he has nothing to say in that moment to communicate with you. I request that employ us. Let us be the role models. Just imagine you enter the environment and you find your person who shares the same physical appearance like you. For example, the ladies, the women with physical impairment. If you could add on the beds and adjust them, because when you enter in those hospitals, we thank the few beds that are there, but to call upon the hygiene and sanitation. But I'm still going back to my point. Make us the role models, employ us, the Ministry of Health. Put us in those positions, we can sign for our colleagues. Even when they come, they get encouraged. You tell them about the environment of the hospital before she lands into the nurse's hands, who is going to question, how did you get onto your bed with your man? If you want my service now, that I should come up and help you and carry you, the growling woman. So if I find my colleague who has a disability, maybe visually impaired, maybe deaf, I will get so much encouraged. And we are so much educated. The parents have done their role. So for family planning to go,
please,
let's take our questions really short.
Okay.
We have a Saturday here.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
So those next one.
Thank you, our panelists. I'm called Dr. Nathan Mbone and work with Japaigo, DCI program. My question goes to the religious leaders. It's a specific question and I will ask that you give us a specific answer. You told us to, get people to plan, when to have children, to plan, the issues planning, but in marriage, sex has, one of the expressions is sex or consummation. Now, as I'm planning for when to have children, what method am I going to use? So how do I prevent getting pregnant? Come intention be clear on what people should use as they plan to have children when they're ready to have them. Thank you.
Okay. You just select which to select. A good balance, because there are too many hands. And you can.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you. Thank you for yet another opportunity to speak. My name is Agea Tony, and I am a social science student from Chambo University. And I'm also in the disability organization of Chambo University. So I'd like to thank UNFPA as well for giving us this opportunity to represent, and also for bringing in this conference the religious leaders to give us their perspectives. It is true that religious leaders are very vital in this discussion. So now, I'd like to focus my concern on the religious leaders. So you as religious leaders, you know that family planning is for everyone, right? And also at the same time, persons with disabilities are part of the everyone. They have the right to access family planning. So, I would like to ask you then, the religious leaders in general, how are you helping persons with disabilities to also access these services? Do you think that access, when you talk about the ramps, when you talk about the interpretation services, do you have that in mind? Thank you very much.
Okay, let us have, we have many, you have written some things, and we need to respond to them then before we move on. But we need to be mindful of time. And if something has been responded to, please just say.
What is it that can be done in situations where we have the discordant couples as far as using condoms? I think the answer is clear. Once you mention the discordant couples, obviously condom in that context is allowed. And I did a publication. Actually, that is my area where I did my thesis. You can go to Uganda Christian University and look for my book. It's there. Then another one is what is the Church of Uganda slogan as far as family planning is concerned? For us, we say as Church of Uganda because the House of Bishops sitting in 2010 on 13th November, they passed a resolution and they said family planning should be integrated in all church programs. And what is our slogan? We say it's better for every individual to have the number of children you can feed, clothe, educate, and also yourself remains healthy. Thank you.
People with special needs require special skill to be attended to. And therefore, we are also in the religious communities, in the Muslim perspective in particular, would wish to have empowerment in some areas of dealing with such issues, because it's not common. Though we have been doing something to help the people with disabilities, like guiding and also attending to them to be taken to the centers where they will receive some help. But ideally, we need to empower our clerics much more in how to deal with them. And the question of condom use, I would like to agree with my colleague here to the discordant couples. But not only that, you see, there are situations where we need to address things in a realistic way, where you find a group of young children who are mainly drug addicts. And these young kids could at one time engage themselves into this open sex. What could you do? Do you give a blind eye to them, or you attend to them? How do you attend to them in the first place? I think this is a necessity where you will have really to allow such group of people, because to use a condom, otherwise they will die. And once they die, you will have no one to guide. Therefore, condom use is actually permitted when there is a necessity.
Thank you very much. There's somebody who gave me a question but I not put his name. But what this person has recommended, employment of sign language interpreters by Ministry of Health or family planning service providers at all health centers. This will help clients to be meeting this person. I think yesterday I made 2 recommendations. I said it's very important to employ interpreters in the health centers, and also very important to put sign language in the disability studies in the curriculum, in the training institutions. This will move together, and this will help the sustainability part of it. Yes, bringing sign language interpreters can be of short term right now, but long term should be put in the curriculum. Thank you very much.
To be able to talk more. I have many questions. It's as if you are so happy to see me here. Anyway, the first is saying, why do Catholics allow artificial methods of family planning? Please help us give the reason. Because just like artificial methods, even natural family planning methods can fail. Now, even another one is here. Okay, now no more. By the time I end this, I will have answered all of them, even those we still have. Why doesn't the Catholic Church allow artificial methods of family planning? Myself, I do counseling. I've been to schools. I've listened to many young people. And I've come to interface with many young people and many women and mothers who have had issues with artificial methods of family planning. The Catholic Church has written numerous documents, many documents in the Second Vatican Council, the Magisterium, Catechism of the Catholic Church, which have been biblically founded and theologically founded, that explain the danger in artificial family planning. And many of you here, I think, many of you mothers, you have come to believe some of these artificial methods are dangerous. Now for us to stand on the biblical quotation of be fruitful and multiply. That's the first one. Secondly, God, like a pastor said, has given us the ability to co-create through procreation. And therewith, we talk about reasoning and plan the procreation to use your maturity to decide when to have your child. But now these artificial family planning methods, they have caused a lot of harm, a lot of dangers. One time I went in a conference and many mothers, many women talked about the dangers of these artificial family planning methods. So please, the Catholic Church will never support them. We shall keep supporting the natural family planning method. That's why in every hospital, I see many persons that say that it has failed. In many of our hospitals, some of us don't go for guidance. But when you go there, they will teach you how to apply the natural family planning method. Secondly, they say experience has shown that natural family planning has failed among Islamic couples. As the Catholic Church advocates for NFP, what is the biblical reason for not using artificial methods? The Catholic Church does not only based on the Bible to advance our doctrines. We also have many other documents, but specifically, we refuse this because the church is pro-life. We are against abortion because many of these girls have died. We are against this use of condoms because of the dire consequences from them. The church is a pro-life. We are after life, and many popes have written encyclicals and documents about this. Let us read. In Africa, many of us don't want to read. We must read and be aware, because ignorance cannot save you. If you live in unawareness, you make mistakes. Then, apart from the people's instruction to the African Catholic religious leaders, do they have a forum to discuss family planning reality in the African context? For instance, in Uganda, 18 mothers die to childbirth-related issues. Yes. The CMB, the Catholic Medical Bureau, in every diocese, we have many fora where they talk about this. But the problem we have, many people seem to be too busy. The Catholic Church organizes these conferences. We don't go there. Let us learn to go to these conferences where the Ministry of Health organizes like this. Please go to be aware. Many of these things are because we are not aware. We don't read, we don't know. We are just suffering looking for money. Then we get complications. Then how can we be advised on maintaining sizable, managed, and quality families, knowing the level of effectiveness of natural methods is only 75%? Yes. First of all, like I said, gone are the days when we had responsible men, responsible fathers. Today people are just experienced in pregnancy, in fathering. They cannot take care of their children. And I normally warn you, a successful man without a successor is a failure. If you reach 60 and you have no children, you will die a generational failure in the eyes of any responsible people. We want to ask you, please, first of all, get responsible partners. If they leave you and you're a single mother, a single father, just take it as part of life. Bring up your children and become a leader among them. Otherwise, for us, we shall remain saying, you must have a sizable, manageable family. Just use your reason. Be responsible and know when to have your first child, when to have your second child. Talk with your husband, with your wife. A family is a unity. Work together out this. Then is celibacy part of the religious family planning? We told to delay procreation or indefinite measure to limit population growth. No, no, no. Celibacy in the Catholic Church is a gift. For me to be a priest, I've been trained for 14 years by the church. I'm a 4th-degree holder, and next week on 4th I'm going to defend my master's degree in Makerere University. The church trains us. We cannot become celibate senselessly. We become celibate with a reason, and biblically founded. It's free choice. And we have time for 8 years to decide to pull out. When I become a priest, I've decided. Celibacy is a good gift because it has also benefited not only the church, but even you people. We have time to come and preach to you. We have time to pray for you. So appreciate it. Then, thank you for recognizing the important issue of spacing birth, save mothers and children's lives. However, please not give out the message that artificial family planning causes health problems. How many women or children have died due to artificial family planning? Pregnancy causes far more health problems and kills 6,000 women in Uganda every year. I want to affirm to you, one time I gave a young man to take my car to the washing bay, and I found a money purse. It was big. I thought there was a lot of money. I found the condoms packed like $1 inside there. People today, they take abortion, are moving with the condoms, are pregnant. People just want freedom, like the Sheikh said. They just want my rights, pro-choice. Pro-choice, it's my life. But in the end, we shall suffer later of this. I want to still strongly warn you about the artificial methods of family planning. okuweka ekibala byonna bireese ebizibu mu bamama baffe bafa kikulukuto bafa ebirwadde ebyegerigeri because of these things. And mind you, in schools, many young people in primary school, secondary school, many of them go with condoms to school. Even some parents give them. Where are we heading to? What kind of families are going to have tomorrow? Please. Let me summarize. To the religious leaders, we are all in agreement that we need to space and plan for our families. This is an opportunity to clear the perception that modern family kills children. The reality is that whether natural or modern, no person takes place and they are not children killed. Anyway, what is this one? What it's saying is that, please, today we find many of you. You are powerful men and women in your offices. You are CEOs, great women. You influence everybody. But when you have no any child, you have no any marriage, you are friend. Please, I want to warn you. Here in African setting, I was recently in the USA for 2 months. I found people living with dogs, and I warned them that the American race would be wiped out soon. Because no posterity. All of you Africans, I want to warn you, our African who have understanding in family. You need your children when you age. You are going to be in hospitals. You are going to be old. Who's going to take on after you? You need your children. In Africa, we need children. Please, if you have any chance to produce a child, it's a gift from God. Any baby born is God's way of saying the world must continue. Every child born is a blessing to the world. Reverend Father Priest, it is doctrinal to use natural family method only, but is it really applicable in our today's life? Yes. Because according to the CMB statistics, if you go in Zambia Secretariat, I think even sister will tell you, we have statistics that show that it has worked into those who have come to be guided on how to use it properly. So according to me, it has worked. I don't know why it has not worked in your life. I have to go. Father Chief, natural peace at least effective. At the Catholic Church, what improvements and practical measures have been implemented on realizing how ineffective natural family planning is? Yes, we have reached out to mothers who have guided. And we have, of course, it is not 100%, but to a big percentage, it has worked out. So for us, the Catholic Church, we shall continue to support that for the sake of our health. Then,
I think Father has so many questions. So
yes, now.
Please engage him over break time.
Okay, now.
Because
now simple.
Yes.
Let me just put like this. Please, dear fathers, dear mothers here, I don't have many years in priesthood, but I've been in all circles. I want to ask you, if you're a father, if you're a mother, if you're a husband, if you're a wife, please be responsible enough. When you beget a child, take responsibility. Avoid abandoning women. It is the whole issue of abortion. Because many mothers, they have been abandoned. You impregnate, then you forget about her. What can they do? Now some fear. They end up aborting, they end up preventing pregnancies. In the end, when you are 16, when you are 17, you will remember what we are talking about. Thank you.
Okay. Now this issue.
Thank you. DHO Yumbe, when you mentioned the word family planning, many community members are switched off. What can you do as a leader? As a leader, you need to have followers, you need to influence followers. If you cannot influence them to follow you, that means you're not a leader. So as a leader, I should be able to talk about family planning, I should be able to engage them about family planning, but more importantly, we need to have more time to talk about family planning with our communities. It seems to take us very little time to explain what family planning is, to tell them exactly the value of family planning. So as a leader, you need to influence, you need to create more followers to ensure that they follow what definitely you want. So if you do that, I think we shall go a long way to recruit as many people to get as many followers on issues of family planning. DHO Noel, there is a notion in Acholi that we lost many children during the conflict. As a leader, how are we going to convince your population about family planning? I want to give you a story. About 3 weeks ago, I went to one of the sub-counties. I found a lady who is 19 years with 3 children. 19 years, 3 children. And she looked like a grandmother of about 50 years. This lady came for family planning in one of our health facilities. And the reason was that she had 3 children. Then her man has already got another woman with, again, 2 children. So this is a lady now come to seek for what? Family planning services. So what is important is to explain to our population what family planning is, what the benefit is, but many times, as I said, we tend only to talk about the how of the family planning, but why do we need family planning? And besides, not only one person or 2 to 3 people can fill the entire children, those who are not still in the middle of the conflict. Move to the streets now in Acholi, move to the villages now in Acholi, look at the conditions of our mothers, look at the number of children that we have. So it's a matter of explaining, it's a matter of being a leader in all those. Then how can you help, this is Kato, how can you help your fellow men to become champions of family planning? As I said, I live by example. At 50 years now, I have only 4 children. I've appreciated the benefit of family planning. And when I get out, I talked about that. And with other men, we have what we call role models in our community. So we need to be role models in our community so that we get this message to go out to as many people as possible. Thank you.
From the discussions and listening in here, it looks like we need to do a lot more with the religious institutions. And my question is, can we integrate family planning and moral values according to the religious leaders? There is another part of the question which is not very clear. But let me give my opinion, because I'm not a religious leader, but the question was put to me, because probably I come from civil society. One, I would like to say that from what I've heard from all the religious leaders, we seem to agree that family planning is acceptable. We seem to disagree on the methods that we should promote. And therefore, I would like to say, yesterday I heard the minister talking about a multi-sectoral approach. It seems to me like we need more of a multi-stakeholder approach, discussed and agreed, so that, for me, I'm a Muslim, and many Ugandans are religious. We respect the word, we would like to be seen in good books with our religious leaders. Now, I think what is key is for us to sit down and support each other to make sure that the religious institutions are facilitating family planning within their acceptable doctrine. I think the Reverend Fathers said it very clearly. They are not about to give up as a Catholic Church. So are we saying we should leave them out? No. Should we become aliens? We need to find a way for the church to help promote family planning within the limits of what they agree. And I think also as practitioners, as promoters of family planning, we need to promote and package the natural. I was seeing a lot of, the sister is here, and when the Reverend was talking about, she was waving some information brochures. I don't know what they are talking about. She's right now showing us a moonbeam. How we support the church to promote what they believe in If we strike this balance, I think we'll reach somewhere. I think for me that is the key cut-off point in this discussion. We need to find a meeting point. I will personally put a question to my neighbor here to tell us how can we best work with the church institutions. We know the House of Bishops, we know the born again have a setup in which they meet. The Muslim Spring Council exists. We have the Episcopal Conference. How do we as practitioners work with them to reach a point where they start talking positively about family planning without hurting their own doctrine as religious institutions? I rest my case. Thank you.
Lastly, Pastor Serwere.
I don't have many questions, so here we go. This one I have to read before I answer it. It says, Dr. Serwere, thanks for the moral stand, but is there a way that the born-again churches can support young people who have no resources in their hands not to get married? Because many of them entered marriage, have ended up in divorce, and many children are not being supported. I would like to ask this very strong question to whoever asked this one. How do we now help you not to get married? Because by the time somebody comes to an office to say I'm getting married so and so, some of them are already into a very serious relationship. They met at school, they met in the streets, or in some place, and they're coming to you to simply tell you what their plans are. And at that stage, what they want is for you to authenticate, to authorize, or maybe even give them a certificate of marriage. That's what they are looking for. They are not looking for your approval or disapproval. Some of them come to us with issues already. They have already got 1, 2, 3 children. So you cannot help somebody not to get married. You can only help them go forward and get into this thing and get sorted out. However, why should anybody enter into a relationship with anybody without assessing their income? Young women, please, when somebody comes to you, tell them to take you to the Standard Chartered Bank or the Barclays Bank and show you their account first. Let them show you how strong they are economically, because that's the only way you can answer this question. The next one is, how can we best work with the church to promote acceptable family planning? I think my colleague has answered it, but here are some of the ideas. Number one, every church has a structure. Every religious institution has structures. We have structures from local churches all the way up to national office. So that's the way you work with us. You work with our local churches, you work with our structures, wherever they are. We also have NGOs and other benevolent activities that are related to what we do. That's how you work with us. We also have media houses. Use our media houses. Use our schools. Use our hospitals, our clinics. Use anything that we have. Book for airtime and come to our church services whenever we hold them. Our church services, and I'll speak only for the born-again churches, are not structured to address spiritual issues only. We have time for issues that are extra biblical. In other words, if you are an expert, you are into business, you are into this kind of setting, you are an educationist, you are a lawyer, and you've got something to say that is supportive and helpful to the church, we will offer you time. And we listen to you. Because we found ourselves in areas where we need legal assistance. We found ourselves in areas where we need this kind of information. So those ones are there. Number 3, give us the reference where a man who used the withdrawal method. That is Genesis chapter 38, verse 9. Yeah, the young man is called Onan, and he used the withdrawal method, and God punished him for it. Genesis 38, verse 9. And that's the same question, so I had two of those. This one is from a brother called Benson. He says, according to Psalms 139, God talks about when life begins. Can you clarify to the house when life begins in response to Onan's story quoted before? Benson, the Bible says in the book of Jeremiah, I don't know who Benson is, but I don't know where Benson is. Is he here? Should be. Jeremiah chapter 1 verse 5 says, before you were formed in your mother's womb, I knew you and I called you to be a prophet. In other words, people are here with a destiny and a purpose and a reason. You did not just show up on this planet. You would be such an embarrassment and a wastage. You came here for a purpose. You are here in your time. When your time comes to go, you will go because that's God's will. But while you're here, I want you to know from the biblical perspective that you were created for a purpose. For Jeremiah, he was going to be a prophet. And for other people who found their destinies, they are where they are. That is why you see them marked. The pastors are here, the bishops are here, the imams, the sheikhs, everyone. They are here because they found what God called them to do. All of these men and women who are not clergy, who are not leaders in the church, also found their purpose in society and life. The likes of Dr. Chapman and others are performing perfectly because they are in the slot where God wants them to be. So, now, because you are formed by God, the Bible says in Isaiah 44, verse 24, that when you were coming out of your mother's womb, he at that stage protected your life so that you don't die. Finally, in the book of Galatians chapter 1 verse 15, Paul says to us that God knew him before he became a prophet. So, while I must summarize, I must say that none of you here is here without a reason. We only mess up with life and destroy it because of our own weakness as humans. But if we had followed God's plan, every one of us has a purpose, has a reason, and is here for that. Finally, about the element of protection using condoms. Here comes the big one. For both prevention of STIs and pregnancies and all of that. Can you say something here? I can't. Especially when we have some discordant couples that have to stay negative and take care of their children. Before a person is married in any Pentecostal or evangelical, quote-unquote, Bible church, there are counseling sessions. And one of the requirements in our churches is we got to know your status before we marry you. If you've already gone ahead of us and cheated on yourselves and on God and played sex, we still demand that you give us a record of where you are before we marry you. At that stage, if we find out one of you is positive and the other is negative, counseling will be given accordingly. If we find that you are both the same status, then we'll give you counseling accordingly. I believe that the reason for the 21 days that are legally given for people to be announced before they are married is for such issues. That's when we find out that in your clans you have issues. So we tell you, if you are Nansuga and you want to marry Mr. Mubiru, go back to the clan and sort that out. You don't get into a fight in court over clan stuff, over religious issues. If you're coming from another church and you're coming to us, we want to know whether that church knows that you're getting married to him locally, because the moment you get married to us, that's it. You will never go back there. We are going to do stuff on you, and your hours, and we won't give you up quite easily. Finally, why don't you put in place a measure to prevent unwanted pregnancies? We cannot. People have rights. People tell us they have rights. They can play sex whenever they want, with whomever they want, and however they want. That's the reason you had somebody standing here on the dais yesterday. A lady said, give the LGBTI a chance. And I was like, wait a moment. But she went away quickly and I never wanted to bother. But because people have these rights, we therefore wait for those that have allowed us to speak in their lives authoritatively. If you come to us, we have the right to speak to you and show you where we want to go with you with this matter. For example, if you're promiscuous or you've been before, you've been a harlot or you've been and there are men and women harlots. If you have been that kind of life, we want to talk to you and tell you where you're coming. You're going to have now to live chastely. You're going to live a chaste life. You're going to control your urges for sex. You're going to live within the limits of what God says. If you say yes, we baptize you. If you say no, we wait for you and educate you until we get you converted. We do not believe that people can just live irresponsibly and be part of society as they want. We want them to live a life that honors God, because this planet is actually God's property. We are just residents. We come here and we go away. If people are not dying every day and others being born, we would be in trouble. We would have no space. But because the owner of this piece of land called Earth has a way of pruning and cutting and taking away chaff and letting new life blossom, we are here and we want to enjoy ourselves, and you cannot give us a problem like you said. The last question I will answer on radio tomorrow morning.
Okay, thank you.